Hey there everybody, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're going to be doing a music review on a song called Donut Factory for elementary band, and it's by Heather Hoefle. If you and I are meeting for the first time, my name is Bob Cieslinski and I'm an elementary band director. I make YouTube videos to share what I've learned about music and to save you time. Let's get right to the review today of Heather Hoefle's Donut Factory.
Donut Factory by Heather Hoefle, grade half.
So let's go into Smart Music. Let's take a look at this piece and see what exactly is in here. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to click in Donut Factory, and it's going to bring up the piece in Smart Music for us to take a look at. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start at the top with flute. Now let's take a quick look at the flute part and see what we're dealing with. When I'm choosing a piece of music, I like to listen to it, but I also like to see some things in it too, just to know what I'm really getting into with all of the parts. I know what my kids can handle, and if I see something in there that I think might be beyond them, then I'm thinking, do I want to do this piece or not? A lot of times I'll even find that, you know what, I can push them and I know they can get that. So it's not as hard as maybe what I thought it was. So in Donut Factory, you notice we had a lot of unison music, and that's what we have here. So I can see that the flutes are starting out with high Fs and high Gs, and those get repeated. So there's a lot of repetitive rhythms and notes in this song. Students are going to have to learn how to count multiple measures of rest. They're also going to have to learn how to do staccato tonguing. I can see that dynamic changes aren't huge. So I have a mezzo forte at the beginning, and then I have a forte at 17. The mezzo forte comes back at 25, and we go back to forte. So it keeps going back and forth. There's not a lot of dynamic change, which this is a grade half piece of music, so I think that's a good thing. You know, this is a particular piece that we don't need a huge range in. It's just a fun piece, but it does teach them how to do forte and how to do mezzo forte. Really nice, easy rhythms. I can see that this rhythm here will push some younger kids with the quarter, 2/8, and 2/4 notes and playing it staccato. So that's probably something you'll need to work on with them. We have two parts here that are complete opposites of what's going on at the beginning. I can see right here at 25 a possible issue. So students are going to have to count, be in time, and play these eighth notes with the staccato quarter note at the end together. And then once they get these two parts worked out, and I would suggest doing these as separate parts. Work on this measure, then work on that measure. Then they're going to have to count 6 measures of rest, which can be really difficult for elementary kids. Seems like it should be easy, but it can be difficult, especially during this section. When we listened to this section, we could hear that it was an open section and we were trading between the different sections of the band. So it's very easy for them to start to rely on, hey, when this group does this, then I come in. And obviously if that one group miscounts, then everyone after them is going to be wrong. So they have to learn to count on their own. At 33, we're back to this melodic part, and that melodic part also was back here at 17. So I can see that 17 and 33 share this same melody. And it's a pretty simple melody, half notes and quarter notes, but you're going to have probably a good bit of teaching here because the notes are changing so much compared to the repeated part we had at 9 and at 41. Then let's go over to page 2, and page 2 pretty much has one more line left here. And if you were doing this outside of Smart Music, then obviously this would be on one page. This is a piece you can print from Smart Music, so if you have Smart Music, which is the best practice tool out there, I've been using this for over 15 years, then there's actually a print feature, and if you come up top and you click print, then it's going to bring up a PDF file of that sheet of music, and you can print this off and play. It's kind of a nice feature. You do have to pay extra for that print feature though, just so you know. It's probably cheaper for you to just buy this, have this in your library, and then use Smart Music as a practice tool, which is what I did this past year. Let's take a quick look at some of the other parts here. And I think what we're going to find is, since this is mainly a unison song, most of the instruments will be doing the same thing. And you can see that. Everything that I mentioned with the flute pretty much is happening with the clarinet till we get to 25, where they're resting the first 2 measures and the flutes are playing that little melody for 2 measures. And then the clarinets come in. And this was that whole section that I said they're really going to have to count their parts so they know when to come in, and they're not just relying on listening to another section, which elementary groups tend to do. So that's all pretty much the same, and as I go down through some of the other instruments, I'm sure saxophone we're going to see the same thing. And if I pay attention to what was going on in 25, I can see saxophones and clarinets are playing this open section here at 25 together. So I can strategically work on this with flutes and then clarinets and saxes just to get them a little bit stronger on their part. I suspect that tenor sax will be different, and it is. So tenor sax shares this nice little melody here with the low brass. The low brass and the tenor sax are playing this little background bassy kind of melody, and I'll play a little bit so you can hear it. That's what this sounds like, and obviously that was their best guess at a tenor sax sound here. But it's just this little melody, and it gets repeated over and over. The nice thing is with your tenor saxes and your low brass, you know, you're teaching them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes, and then after that, those 5 notes and the way this is laid out rhythmically with the rest, then they have a great bass for this whole piece. They're going to be playing that a lot. They can feel very confident in playing this part. Minimal practice to get that whole 2-measure section down, and then they're playing this. There is an extra part here for them, and that happens right here before 9. We have all these lead-in measures right before the numbers. So measure 8 before 9. We have this whole lead-in, and they're just playing this walking bass line. Bum, 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 which picks us right back into that first little melody that they were playing. And that happens before every number. So we do it in 16, leading into 17. And that's something the band can kind of feed off of also. You get your tenor saxes and your low brass playing this on cue all the time, and that's the cue for the whole band on when they're coming to these next numbers. When we get to 25, that open section, you can see the tenor sax is with the clarinet, and it's with the alto saxophones playing this little section. A lot of repetitive parts. Remember, the opening 9 and 41, you're going to have a lot of repeating of that section, and then 17 and 33 is repeating that section. Let's go and let's check out what the French horn is doing. So French horn, it's doubling what the flutes and the saxes and the clarinet is doing all the way through. But when we get to the open section 25, you can see they have something totally different than the other group. So they're carrying a little bit more of this melody, and they have to rest 4 measures before they come in. That's going to be a little bit difficult from the last thing they played to playing this here in measure 29. Very easy rhythms, very easy note pattern. So it's just a matter of just practicing this and getting several reps on it with them and just working on those notes. Let's see what's coming up here with the trumpet. And I'm suspecting that the trumpet will do the same thing as the French horn, and they do. So French horn and trumpet has this extra section. So flutes play, then saxophones, clarinets play, and then we've got French horn and trumpet taking us out here. And the trumpet actually joins in with the low brass here, right before 33, playing that walking bass line with those 4 notes. Bum, 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 bum. And not only are we working on staccatos in this song, but we're also working on accented notes. So let's come to our low brass part. The trombones have that part that the tenor saxes have, except for one little thing, which makes this super cool for the trombones, and that is right here. They have a very cool glissando going from 6th position C up to 1st position F. Bum, rest, rest, bum, bum, rest, bum, bum. That's going to be really cool for your trombone players. They're going to love doing that. You're going to catch them in band rehearsals and just getting ready with their instrument, and you'll hear them playing this because they love glissandos. The last thing that I would like to take a look at is what's going on with our percussion section. So percussion, they're going to be doing what the band is doing. So flutes and clarinets, that little melody that they had at the beginning there, that rhythmic kind of piece, the rest. Bump, bump, rest, rest, bump, bump. But then our percussion break away to add some rhythmic variety to what's going on. And those are always parts that allow the band to hear, okay, we're moving to this next section. I was in the right place. And you can see that it's not that tough, this rhythm pattern. Quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, quarter. We actually had that in the flute and clarinet and saxophone part also. As we come down here, these 2 measures, I noticed with my percussion section, if you can teach them to get this whole pattern, and you're going to have to work on this, and it's worth working on this because this keeps coming back in the piece. This is one of their repetitive parts. You can see it here, you can see it here, you can see it here. And then at the end of all of these lines, they're playing these 4/8 notes and 2 quarter notes. So if you can get them to work on that and get that really, really good, it's going to pay off because they'll be able to play it throughout the piece. When we get to that open section that everybody had in the band at 25, the snares move to the rim of the instrument. And it gives us this really neat clicky kind of sound through this open section. And we kind of need that because we don't want the percussion to overpower what's going on with this open section with the flutes. The flutes would be playing their little da-da-da-da-da right here. And if percussion was playing, 9 times out of 10, they'd play too loud and they would cover that up. So that was really, really smart that Heather wrote this way. She is an excellent composer. I do recommend her pieces. Like I said, my kids love playing this piece this past year, and it's a very easy piece to get together. We move back to the head, and you can see a lot of this percussion stuff is repeated. So once you teach them certain patterns, it gets repeated. Big ending here, though. So the last two lines starting at 48, you can see the percussion trade off with the rest of the band. So they're playing sometimes with the band and then on their own. And this kind of allows everyone to have a really good idea and feel for what's going on and where they are in the piece. And you can see it's going to make your percussionists work a lot more to get all of this in time with the rest of the band. And big ending here for the drums. They finish us off, dum, bum, 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 with the accents. And it's a good thing to teach them how to play accented notes and then just standard regular notes too. This was such a great piece of music. My kids enjoyed playing this past year. Maybe there was a piece of music that you got to play this year that your kids enjoyed. Down in the comments section, let me know if there was a piece of music your kids enjoyed playing this past year. I'd really love to know. Heather Hoefle's Donut Factory is fantastic. I hope you'll think about this for one of your future concerts. If you enjoyed the content today, make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. That way you'll get all the videos as soon as they're released. And if you like this video and you hit the like button below, this pushes the video up in the YouTube algorithm so that other people can see and enjoy this content. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.